generally, why we talk about raw materials, it's because of the constantly growing demand linked to the green and digital transition. And we've done several studies that show that this demand will be growing significantly for many of the critical raw materials. So that's one thing we are facing. The other thing we are facing is that actually we are very dependent on third country sourcing, and we are looking in terms of the full value chain, not just one stage, which could be mining or recycling, but we look at many elements. And we introduced the Act with 4 key objectives: strengthening all stages of the critical raw materials value chain. We want to diversify the imports of critical raw materials to the EU and reduce the strategic dependencies, particularly the dependencies from the very few countries from which we source the majority of these critical raw materials. We want to improve the capacity of monitoring and mitigating risks of disruptions of the critical raw materials supply. And actually, these disruptions is one of the main reasons why we are introducing this act. Basically, the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in many disturbances in the supply chains for industry, particularly in raw materials sourced from third countries. That is one of the drivers of our act. The second driver is the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which also caused many disruptions and showed many vulnerabilities of the supply chains for raw materials. So this is the second issue. So our monitoring and mitigating risk is very important, especially in such situations. And we also look at improving the circularity of critical raw materials and the sustainable dimension. We're looking at strengthening domestic capacity for extraction, with at least 10% of the strategic raw materials to be produced in the EU. For processing and refining, that would be at least 40% in the EU, and recycling at least 15%. The strategic raw materials, we want to facilitate their investments in these raw materials production in the EU, and the idea is to have it done by strategic projects. So investors, applicants can submit their idea for their investment project to the European Commission for a strategic project. The Commission will assess that application, looking at how the project could contribute to the security of supply.
The European Technology Platform started already in 2005. And it was recognized by the EU Commission in 2009. And it's a platform that gathers all different stakeholders from the raw materials industry, the whole value chain from exploration all the way to the smelters, refining, and also recycling. Technology providers needed to do the mining, geological surveys, academia and research institutes, industry and stakeholder association, and also international partners. So our mission is to develop long-term European mineral industry research and innovation agendas and roadmaps for different actions at the EU and national level. When we are putting together our new strategic research and innovation agenda, we want the focus to be on the front when it comes to sustainability actions. We need to create safe and attractive workplaces. We need to increase our productivity and efficiency for competitiveness on the global market. But we need also to put in a lot of effort for new technology to reach zero carbon emissions and minimize our environmental footprint. So this is the core of the different research and innovation actions that we are proposing in our new research and innovation agenda. European mines should contribute to the EU self-sufficiency in critical strategic metals and minerals with low environmental and climate footprints while being competitive on the global market. And here we want to put in all the different benchmarks set up in the Critical Raw Materials Act. And we also need to work a lot to avoid social, with innovation when it comes to the social impact that we have. We need to have acceptance of our mines wherever they are in Europe. We know already now, but we have mines in Europe. We have quite a good social acceptance, but we need more mines all over Europe to actually reach these different targets. We want to foster new and attractive workplaces where automation, digitalization, and environmental ambitions have contributed, enhancing the appeal for the whole industry. We want to be a high-tech industry, and we are already a high-tech industry in many senses, but we need to be at the forefront.